Saturday showdown. D+ Kia versus BNK Fear X.
This could be just a game one, see how it goes. Could see how the series goes. If they win it, they're happy with him. But I think maybe reflecting the fact that he's done so well in solo queue, giving him an opportunity here. And obviously, HLE on a relatively comfortable position in their standings, but still that you want to maintain top 2, and there are teams hot on their heels, so definitely want to secure this win.
Yeah, might even be like a reward, you know? You hit rank 1, you deserve to play in the LCK. Go ahead, you know, Delight's coming back in next week. Could happen, unless he turns into some, you know, kind of carry a beast or something out of nowhere. Has been playing in Challengers for a decent bit now. Cassiopeia is now a mainstay ban here at the LCK. Nobody wants to play against that thing, even if you're not playing Rise.
Yeah, the synergy with Deathfire Touch has kind of been insane, and as a result, teams really respecting it. Rumble and Karma, 2 of the picks left available, but I feel like they've been dropping out of priority from the must-ban sort of position. Jarvan going to get taken away, which is fair enough, but then Bard banned away from bluffing here, so denying him a pick. It is his most played champion this season, so making sense there. Karma, Rumble, 2 big picks that are open and available. HLE will just go for the Rumble for Zeus. And it looks like the Karma is going to be snapped up. I feel like HLE have the opportunity to go Ashe Seraphine if they really want into this. Karma can go with Kate, can go with Jin, so lots of options. They are going to secure the Xin Zhao as a pairing here. Do you go Ashe Seraphine here, or do you want to prioritize getting a higher tier jungler? There's also Lucian Milio as another option. Where they go towards.
Guma definitely one of the guys that was like, oh no, MF is definitely playable when nobody else is really playing it. And we've been seeing more and more MF. He is hovering it here. It's a lot of, you know, wombo combo with the Rumble potentially if you have CC to back it up, and they are going to go for the Nautilus. So there's your CC.
Yeah, so giving bluffing an engage pick, a lot of setup, but a lot of threat onto the Karma, a lane where you can just find all-in kills. What will the pairing be? You know, the MF was hovered, but I think there's options. You could also just leave AD carry for now and go for a jungler in this situation. They are going to go for Guma's MF here. So this is a little surprising because typically I think a lot of teams would go for like the strong pairings in Ashe Seraphine, Lucian Milio, these sorts of things. But instead going for what is undoubtedly a kill lane, where they are going to look to punish this Karma where possible. Yeah. And we have seen sometimes Karma struggle a little bit. They opt to go for the Sivir, the Spell Shield, the Wave Clear. Definitely useful tools, especially into the Nautilus. But the short range into MF can allow you to get bullied out a little bit. You obviously have the Karma to assist with that, but if Karma steps up too much, he can just be engaged on. So I expect the bot lane of HLE to really try and put the pressure on. You're playing into a very strong scaling bot lane, and the Sivir, Karma, plus Xin Zhao, you just amplify him so much. So Raptor could have a pop-up performance here. Now, Lee Sin going to get banned away, which I think makes a lot of sense when the Nautilus has already been picked in terms of that setup for him.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll take the Vi away. We did see yesterday Vi and Nautilus alongside of the Rumble. I think that game was a loss. That was Kium DRX that got all those picks against T1. But it might be almost too much CC. But I suppose if you pick Vi as well, it's kind of got the nice play into Sivir where you can smite the spell shield off. But also could get banned here.
Yeah, banning the tanks in the matchup for the Rumble. So, first off, banning the Xante, which obviously we've seen rise in priority with the Doran's Helm changes. I feel like there is a range of picks you can pick into the Rumble, but obviously there's some variants. You know, we've seen Yorick do pretty well. We've seen people pick Jace into it. Sion, Xante are kind of like the classics. Trundle going to come out, which makes a lot of sense, as we often see that into Xin Zhao. So, trimming the pool of options for HLE, but to be honest, HLE already have such strong team fighting power. I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of slammed Annie Wukong. I think is a really strong combo with the Wukong buffs that came in.
Yeah.
We'll have to see, of course, what the mid lane matchup is before that happens. And they are fully going in on the we're banning tanks here, limiting Clear's options in terms of what he wants to pick into that Rumble. I think the expectation, unless there's something you're really set on in the mid lane, I would probably just pick top lane here. Even, like, I think the higher prio pick is Rise, but there's still a Nivea open, which can be a risk. They opted instead, Viktor's going to go for the Rise. So despite the fact that there's a prospect of maybe an Anivia pick, they still want to commit to it. They want that powerful mid lane pick with the roaming pressure. I think that might adjust HLE a little bit. Do you take the Anivia into the Rise, or do you just kind of focus on what would make your composition really strong?
Zeka doesn't feel like an Anivia player to me. He has played it one game to a loss, but this would be the spot to pick it. There's that Vi that I thought might have been targeted, especially with the Rumble already in the composition. But also because Lee Sin and Trundle are both gone, maybe that's also part of the reason why he does go for this pick here. As one of the top junglers that's left, as we have had a decent smattering of jungle bans.
What do you pair with this? There's a lot of options you could do. I mean, toying with a Yone, obviously, Yone a fantastic pick for Zeka. A pick he is always keen to perform on, and for long times of his career was just consistently banned against him in the first rotation. So picking that one up, looking to see what Clear will take here in the top lane matchup. Galio is something we saw quite a while ago as a counter to Rumble, but more recently has gotten some buffs which make it very relevant. I think there's a lot of scaling elements on the BNK FearX composition. You know, the Sivir and the Rise going to be big problems later on if they're not dealt with, but the engage, the team fight potential of HLE is really strong, and toying with the ideas of a potential swap, which would make the Galio extremely uncomfortable. We know Zeus can play Yone.
I mean, this was the Yone team with Zeus and Zeka. It always got banned in the past, but I think, you know, eventually Yone kind of fell out of the meta. But they're still going to bring it out every once in a while. And Chovy just played Rumble in mid. Obviously, that was into, I think it was TF, right? Faker's TF. And it did pretty well. They did swap back, so the Yone is going mid. And we'll see how that does favor them. It's kind of awesome that they're just able to say, well, both of our players are just incredibly good at this pick. And, you know, if you want to throw a top, you want to throw a mid, we're fine with both. And I also trust Zeka to be able to play a half-decent Rumble. You know, I would expect that he should be able to play that pick as well.
Exciting game. I think different win cons in this one. Obviously, a lot of team fighting power from both sides, but I think it's definitely BNK FearX wanting a more stable game earlier on, to be able to weather the storm.
Yeah, well, we do have game number 1 loaded up. Let's jump onto the rift for BNK FearX versus HLE. All right, match number 73, game number 1. We did have a 6-gamer yesterday. We also had a 6-gamer on Sunday. After an entire season of no 6-gamers, we got 2 in a row. Can we extend the streak, Ox? Is it going to happen tonight?
I'll have to see. Something I am interested in is we kind of talked well, the best start for Kellen there, getting chunked out there. Interestingly, Bluffing's gone heal, not ignite. I feel like when you are putting more emphasis on the kill lane, especially into Karma, the ignite is really powerful because it's not just the heal you reduce, but the Mantra W gives so much healing.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to actually all in on the Karma when she has that, and obviously Karma's the better target than Sivir with the spell shield, so doesn't go for that, does go for the Aftershock though. Yeah, the point I was going to make is we talked about this a little bit at the start of the week, how the changes to minion aggro could really favor melee champions, like melee versus range champions, because it's more difficult to adjust the wave position. We kind of highlighted that on the pre-show yesterday, and thought that maybe this could allow more melee picks to flourish in the mid lane. Right now, we're seeing Zeka on Yone is kind of a classic, but I wonder if that's a factor in him bringing it out, thinking I can survive against the Rise, despite the fact he has Deathfire Touch amping up his lane damage.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure that a lot of our mid laners and top laners or solo laners would have factored it in and say, okay, well, what picks can work a little bit better? You know, what picks are going to get a slight buff from this change? And I'm pretty sure that Zeka, one of the first things he's going to think of as well. I'd love to play more Yone, and he'll get to tonight. I mean, he is definitely an excellent Yone player, especially at setting up big ultimates and team fights. So we'll have to wait and see how BNK Fearx position against him.
With HLE's composition, it's kind of just see target, kill target. A lot of point-and-click CC between the Nautilus and the Vi, and then you have so much follow-up that's just easy to do. Very hard to engage deep enough where like a Rumble can't equalize on top of you or a Yone can't follow up with ultimate. So big danger for BNK Fearx to deal with, and they really want their laners to be quite strong as a result. Ryze obviously can be quite bulky, but still, if you hit him with all that CC, he will just die. Yeah. And then Sivir has Spell Shield, but that's only one ability you can block. You have Raptor leaning down here, offering some coverage, but for now, nothing going to come from it.
Yeah. I feel like bluffing, you know, definitely some eyes on him as the rookie today who's going to be playing. We did have Fenrir yesterday for KT Rolster, subbing in for aiming, as I feel like bluffing looked a lot more confident. You know, he's been playing a decent amount in challengers and did play with, I think it was Pyongyang in challengers as a duo.
In fairness, Fenrir was kind of like a last minute, this player's unwell, we need you in. So credit to him for managing to help secure that win despite the circumstances. It definitely seems like bluffing more planned, or maybe he's just bluffing.
We're going to get a lot of mileage out of that, I think.
Oh, yes, we are. Darn nearly.
You got to get it in and early and often, as they say.
So far, I haven't really seen a window, other than those early level 1 trades, for bluffing and Gumayusi to get much headway in the 2v2. It has just been them being pushed in, put behind a farm. And this will happen if you're playing into Civicom and you don't find angles to really engage as a Nautilus. They're so doing pretty well in this top lane matchup. I do think once the Galio gets magic resist, it's going to be a little bit trickier to put pressure on.
Yeah, and you can see Zeka's going to back here on a cannon wave. He's doing pretty well himself. Looks like he's only about 2 CS behind. Might lose some CS here on this wave, but he will TP back, so maybe not much at all, actually, because of the cannon wave, as we do have a very early Dragon startup here from Raptor.
Yeah, so Kanavi's just not on this side of the map to really assist with this, and Vikla's playing bodyguard here to try and prevent this. They get the information, but bluffing alone can't really prevent this from happening. So it's going to be first Dragon picked up by BNK Fearx. And with it being an Ocean Dragon, you know, so often it's like the early Dragons just aren't really a factor, but early Ocean does help with laning. The extra sustain also means it's not an Ocean Soul, so you're hoping for a more powerful one. And the odds obviously increased with it being an Ocean Dragon first and foremost.
Yeah. I'm hoping for a Chemtech Soul, personally.
Of course you are.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. I'd just like to see more of it. I'm a big fan. This game has not really offered a lot of action. We've seen a lot of bottom lane dives and crazy stuff happening in some of their other games, but so far these two teams just kind of farming it out. Bluffing and Gumayusi just getting pushed in by the Sivir, and the Karma, of course, that's what the Karma offers, is supreme lane dominance, and if you're going to pick a melee support into it, unless you're hitting hooks, you're just going to fall behind.
You can see Kanavi kind of itching for a play there, looking to potentially die Vikla, but they don't see the angle, and he ends up backing away. Bile already available. We've kind of just sped through the early game and gone to the point where both these junglers, well, Raptor shortly is going to have access to their ultimate. The Vi has so much liberty in this game just to make a play wherever you really want, because you have so much either follow-up or setup itself in these lanes. I feel like bot lane would make the most sense. There is that squishy Karma as an angle they've been pushing in all game. Mid lane is obviously an option, but it's a shorter lane, and the Ryze already has a Catalyst. And top lane, Galio is just a bit bulky, so I feel like finding an angle in here and kind of reprieving Gumayusi and bluffing from this rough lane state would go a long way.
Yeah, especially, you know, as I mentioned in the draft, you pick the Vi, you go in on the Sivir, and the Sivir's like, oh, I have spell shields, should be fine. Well, no, you just smite it away, and then you're able to land that ultimate, and you can smite in mid ultimate. So it can be very difficult for the Sivir to handle that. And the Karma isn't something like a Lulu where it's like, okay, I can wild growth and put a giant shield and all this stuff, and polymorph the enemy. Karma can definitely peel a decent amount, but sometimes if the Vi gets a good angle with some help, sometimes you're just dead.
Yeah. Can definitely happen. Bluffing's still trying to find these angles, but struggling a bit right now.
Yeah.
Grub's going to spawn up soon. Kanavi is on that side of the map, but is resetting, not going for it.
Yeah, it feels like maybe if Bluffing's able to hit a hook.
Realm Warp. They're looking for a Realm Warp here.
They're certainly thinking about it. They moved over, I mean, but maybe just because Bluffing is alone and...
Yeah, I mean, maybe the timing of Gumayusi backing off. They didn't have full information. Kanavi resets and goes to the bot side. You can see question mark pings coming in the jungle. That feels like the first instance where really BNK4X was going to go for something, but it just kind of gets negated there.
Yeah, BNK4X is a team that, you know, it's Fear X. They don't have fear, right? That's in the name. And generally, they just make plays, and sometimes it feels like they didn't think it through. But now they're thinking a lot and taking it slow.
If you fear X, isn't X like an unknown quantity? So you just like, what do we fear?
I mean, that's, you know, that's... I agree with you, Ox, but I'm just saying what they're saying. Well, what they publicly said.
Yeah.
Stated their name does mean.
Also, we're talking about fearing X. That's what we did recently. If you've heard about his...
oh, yes. He's, yeah.
Yeah.
He ran away from it as fast as he possibly could. Guma is getting run down here, but he's doing a nice amount of damage to Taeyun, so it's very much a close trade here. The barrier from Taeyun just going to mitigate some of that damage. Guma didn't have to use barrier, actually. So the bullet time getting a lot of value there.
Yeah, I think Taeyun just hoping to DPS him down, but struggled to get the damage in. And Guma obviously turned around with the ultimate, forced him away.
And still no first blood. 10 minutes in.
In a Kanavi vs. BNK4X game, that's kind of crazy.
Like, I don't know if anyone could have predicted this. It's still early, yes, but I mean, given the nameplates.
I think the place where I really expected blood in the bot lane with the setup from HLE, and also the fact that we saw Raptor leaning over there, looking like he was sniffing out a dive, didn't do it. Vikla moved over the Realm Warp, didn't do it. So it's ended up just being a little slow pace so far. That does mean I feel like there's going to be a really explosive fight. Everyone has all their summoners. We have a lot of big tools available. They're kind of itching to press those buttons. Dragon is up in a few seconds, and you can see right now BNK4X are the ones setting up vision in the area, but there's a smattering of wards actually behind where BNK4X are now, so they're looking for bluffing.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of a rough spot here. Realm Warp going to come in. He does have Flash to try to get away. He's just going to get rooted up. Does Flash in the end, and now we got Rise very deep on in this one, so bluffing does go down, but Kanavi's going to clean up onto Vikla. A lot of members of BNK4X, though, on the chase here for Kanavi, who's in a bit of trouble. Has a shield, but he's going to be blocked with this Q as BNK4X just swarm on in and win the fight.
This could have been really risky for BNK4X. They were so deep in enemy territory and had a Rumble TPing behind. If they didn't win that fight, it would be so hard to escape. It would be so hard for anyone to be left alive. They might look for Zeus here, though.
Yeah, just waiting in the brush, and he's going to flash and still get hit by the taunt. That's really rough for Zeus as... yeah, nicely played by BNK4X to hide on bush, but I would say that Zeus should not have face-checked that.
Yeah, he was fishing something out, maybe looking to see if he could find a play there, but unfortunately isn't able to do so and just ends up going down. Now, they're looking to potentially threaten a re-engage here.
I mean, they're not going to get the Drake, so just hoping to force a fight, but they're not able to, and it is Chemtech Soul.
So this fight starts off with them focusing down bluffing, and doesn't get a huge amount of value off his ultimate here. Just knocks a Vikla, which is laid with a knockup from Kanavi. Raptor chasing down bluffing, and a lot of focus from HLE is on to Vikla, who does eventually go down. But you can see Taeyun and Kellen moving up, zones Gumayusi away. He doesn't really find an angle to offer any resistance, and doesn't have his ultimate familiar. That could have been a decent ult angle, but he can't go for it. He has to move away from the Galio. And then this kind of feels like Zeus TP'd, so he's like, I want to get something out of this. I want to see if I can fish for something. But Clear waited. Maybe the expectation was Clear was going to reset and go top, but he waited around and he was rewarded for that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's only Karma, perhaps you can get away. I'm really not sure what he was going to do, though. Like, even if you launch an equalizer into the dragon pit. I think they just move off of it, get shielded by Karma, and just kill the dragon. So I don't really know what the idea was. Perhaps if he had waited for the rest of the team, like they tried to look for something once Bluffing got back, but it was just too little too late, and Zeus was already dead. So yeah, kind of wonky there from HLE Esports and BNK FearX playing well as a team. Bluffing gonna go over a ward and will be able to hook onto the wall, as it looks like the Wind Lightning just barely not going to connect.
Just missed. Able to get away with the dredge line to train. That was a scary situation. I kind of figured he was just dead there. And I think BNK FearX maybe did as well. In the end, it's going to be Knavi moving back for the third grub. Now looking for damage onto Clear here.
Yeah, we got a Vi up on the top side. Clear has flash, but he's just saying, okay, I'm going to taunt and try to flash away afterwards as Knavi goes deep for it, hits the turret, and the damage over the top does the job.
Yeah, the punch through the turret and a smite as well to finish him off. It was a bit of a close one, but they're able to secure it. BNK FearX looking like they wanted to set up onto Zeka, but Bluffing is moving to cover, and they decide against it. I feel like there's been a lot of times this game where BNK FearX have been fishing for plays, haven't committed, thought better, don't want to overstep and get punished for it. Oh, Bluffing again.
He's always just posturing so aggressively, and he's going to get walked here by the Karma. Going deep is Raptor, but not quite able to finish off the kill.
He's getting focused pretty heavily. We've sometimes seen this when there's a new player coming into the LCK. Teams will just heavily try and punish them and try to capitalize on the lack of experience, but Bluffing's doing a good job of mitigating these moments and getting away from them for now, at least. Here, setup comes in. Zay's getting a ton of damage down onto Clear. And then the Vial comes in, and he does manage to at least get some space here, but Knavi with a tower punch, then the smite to finish him off.
Yeah. In the 1v1, I think Clear is totally fine, but the second that Knavi comes up here, the second that Clear overextends in the lane, because it's top lane, it's a long lane, you're going to get run down by the Rumble, and with the Vi there, you're just going to die.
It's also because he's gone Magic Resist as the first item, which obviously makes complete sense into Rumble, but doesn't really help you too much against the Vi, who has all that physical damage, so definitely doesn't feel too fun. And the Dragons have been heavily picked up by BNK FearX. Is it Chemtexol, as you hoped for? So,
yeah.
You know, you can blame yourself for that. But
I'm very happy about it.
HLE got the grubs. HLE now looking for this Rift Herald. It doesn't look like BNK FearX. Actually, they're moving now to potentially contest, but they're going to be a bit late. With Dragon being in a minute, I think you should take the Combat Herald angle here if you're HLE. We've seen it so many times have so much value in the 5v5. You have a lot of powerful ultimates. You have that Herald as a bonus tool in case someone on your side gets engaged on, or you want to layer engages with even more knockups. BNK FearX, 2 Dragons ahead. Honestly, I think the correct play here could just be play for someone else on the map. It's a Chemtexol. I don't think it's a huge concern if you don't get the third one. And in this situation, with the added boost from the Herald, this could be a fight you end up losing with how close the game is currently. But we'll see. Right now they're moving over, so it looks like they do want to contest.
I mean, they're at least trying to stick around and see what they can see, get some vision down. They have this Xinjiao that can potentially frontline.
Yeah. There's a lot of tools from BNK FearX that can slow down the HLE engage. The Galio and Xin Zhao are big factors, the Xin Zhao ultimate being a massive one. But BNK FearX know what they're dealing with. There's so many threats, so many dive threats, so much engage potential from HLE. You just have to mitigate that, survive, keep your backline safe. They're starting to fight aggressively, though.
Yeah, Knavi just essentially baiting that one. The bullet time doesn't really do anything, but Vikla's still going to die as Knavi just backed away and peeled for Zeka. As now the Galio not going to get anything clear, punches the wall, Bluffing gets back in and keeps Raptor around, sacrificing himself at 3, get knocked up by Zeka as BNK get baited into an awful fight for them. HLE Esports crush him.
They don't even use the Combat Herald. They don't even find the need for it. They just find the 5v5 they need. BNK FearX want to start the fight. They're the ones who want to make things happen first and foremost with this Realm Warp. But they aren't able to pin down the targets they want effectively. They really wanted Knavi, and Bluffing kind of took aggro, essentially, in that situation. Forced Taeyeon to focus on him, kept Kanavi in a position where he can fight and then return. We see Zeka with some nice navigation here. They dodge the Galio, and then this equalizer that comes in. Just prime time for Zeus to melt them all.
Oh.
I think that's the thing, when you have so many tools available, even when you use a couple of them on the offset of the fight, you still have so many in the bank to pull out for a re-engage. They kind of disengaged, repositioned, found a new angle, went in again, and the follow-up was so good from the other members of HLE.
Yeah, felt very good on that fight, and, you know, that was just for a Chemtech Drake as well. You were talking about, you know, how these teams have options to potentially not fight for it, go somewhere else. Maybe you get a top turret, maybe you get gold on your Sivir, maybe you try to scale. Nope, that's not what BNK Fearx do. They say, it's one Chemtech Drake, it's valuable, we want to get closer to the soul, we're going to fight this. And, yeah, they do get punished for it.
Now, they don't have Chemtech Drake, and they're 4,000 gold behind.
Yeah.
I think especially when you have a Sivir Karma,
Yeah.
just play for time sometimes, I think, is the right approach.
I agree. But it is BNK Fearx, and they wanted to go in for it. And, I mean, we've seen games end for less, right? You know, 4,000 gold, especially for a team like Humble Life Esports, you know, our upper echelon of teams are very good at getting a relatively small lead and then just breaking the game open and ending it early. So you got to be careful.
Yep, you get the Herald coming down mid eventually. A good amount of value. I expected, as I said, to see it in the fight and get the value from the Combat Herald, but they end up using it to break down mid tier 1. And when you're playing into a Sivir, I think that does have a good amount of value. Obviously, a pick with so much wave clear, very hard to actually cut through. Now they're looking for clear here.
I mean, there were a lot of people in that brush, and I thought that BNK Fearx had an idea. Perhaps Clear was trying to pay for it as they had a couple of members nearby, but all 5 members of Humble Life Esports show up, so just another win for them.
HLE have this sort of composition where it's very difficult to lose gracefully against it. Once they have a lead, they're not really going to let up, and they will just keep engaging on anyone who's isolated alone. Even if you are this tanky Galio, you can just fall victim to them. Helen posturing here, but that is a Vi with ultimate, and it is Kanavi. He will try and kill you. Now that they're looking for the Rise, I think.
Kanavi's just running through the jungle, like, with 4 people near him.
He's just having a good time.
Doesn't care. Knows he has the Blast Cone. And BNK Fearx were watching him like, can he just do that? Yes. Yes, he can. One Chemtech Drake fight. That's all it took.
Yeah. Here, I think Clear expecting to be safe. Thinking even if there's 1 member, I'll be okay, but HLE bring the whole squadron. They have the CC to make sure you're not really able to get away. 5,000 gold lead now for HLE. And with how slow the early game was, I think BNK Fearx is going to experience some whiplash with how quickly this one started to snowball.
Yeah, it's not going to feel great for them. They're not totally out of the game just yet. As you mentioned, it's difficult to get away from this HLE comp. But, you know, they're going to try to do the same thing that they were doing earlier on, which is play a little passively, try to scale up with Ryze and Sivir, and be in a good spot where you can just fight front to backs. You've got a great front line, a lot of support from the Karma, and 2 very strong scaling carries.
Raptor just finished channeling a recall.
Yeah, they have a ton of damage on this because Zeka's very fed, Kanavi's very fed.
They're pinging it, but I just think he's not here in time. That recall timing is so tragic.
Yeah, way too late. They're definitely not getting here. Like, there's just no chance. Raptor's like, oh, wait, you did the Baron? His bluffing is he's gonna get some support from his team. Kanavi's like, maybe I go in. No, I'm just going out. As Zeus did TP behind.
Yeah, they TP Zeus in as well.
They don't seem to know about it, though. It's clear. It's getting run down here. The rest of BNK Fearx running back to try to help. Kind of a weird skirmish.
Oh.
Here, Raptor's going to go in. He's got the Galio on top. The Equalizer doesn't do anything. It's HLE, you know, you're down a member. Now you're down 2.
Yeah, you really didn't need to go for that play, especially because you got the Baron. You lost 1. You could have just disengaged.
And reset the Chemtech Drake.
Yeah, instead they give over mid-tier 1 as a result. They give over Chemtech Dragon as well. You can see the Zeus and Zeka getting some damage on this tower will take it down. They're really strong. In particular, Zeus, who has a significant farm lead over Clear and is like 3 levels up. This play, unfortunately, the recall from Raptor meant he was just very late to get there. They try and look for a fight. The HLE are just like, it's just our Nautilus. We can let it go. They even have Zeus sort of walk away after TP. But then they start looking for a bit more. I think a large factor is on the back of how strong Zeus is. Makes them think we should win a fight here. But it's just unnecessary. You didn't need to fight here. You already had so many advantages that you just kind of took a risk, and it obviously backfired there. They still have the Baron for another minute and a half. The Dragon was secured by BNK FearX.
Yeah. It's not much of a power play as they're behind on gold as a team. And, of course, that Drake was picked up by BNK FearX as well. So now they're on Chemtech Soul Point. Gonna get some healing and shielding power for their squad. Definitely a lot of shields within that squad. Good healing on the Xinjiao as well. And see if they can utilize that.
Rise is approaching level 16. We also have... Okay, Raptor found Kanavi.
Yeah, Kanavi found Raptor as well, and he's going to find out what happens in that case if you just run straight into a Xinjiao. Raptor as well is just going very aggressive. That's going to be a nice flash away by Taeyoon, but he still just gets burst down. Guma, kind of the same fate though, as Zeka doing quite a lot of work here. Flashes in, picks up another one, and now Vikla, he's got Clear nearby, and they might just have the damage there.
The actualizer!
Do it, as Vikla just, wow.
He doesn't have actualizer. I thought that was actualizer damage. He didn't even need it. He just melted all of them. That's crazy.
Stack up for the Rise.
Wow. I actually thought he'd popped it because I'm like, that much damage? No, that's just Rise apparently. Doesn't even need an actualizer to do this. So fight starts out with Kanavi just a little bit too close to Xin Zhao, who with these items is a big threat to melee champions. And then we end up seeing this follow-up play. Guma flashing in to finish the enemy AD carry means he goes down. And it looks like HLE have found favor, but Vikla just does so much damage here.
Right here. Oh my.
And, you know, he didn't have actualize in this situation. He will have it now.
야 미포 묶었어 미포.
Seeing Misfortune.
연애 맞아 연애.
Yone.
It's so much damage. And now he's so fed. Finishes actualizer, gets a Seeker's Arm Guard. So that was pre-actualizer damage. Now the damage is going to be crazy. And these are the spikes that really BNK FearX has been playing toward. The 3 item for the Rise. Siva really feels more 4 items, but she has a 3rd, which feels good. HLE may have flown too close to the sun and may live to regret it now because they just gave space over to BNK FearX. They fought when they didn't need to. And now we're dealing with some very strong late game carry threats.
Oh, nice angle here from Bluffing. It's going to force Taeyoon back. But the issue is nobody's there to really support him. So the execution was nice, but definitely not the right timing to go for it.
And ultimately, you didn't actually get anything from BNK FearX that has a lengthy cooldown. Taeyoon's summoners were already down. They're going to be... I think they might be a little, his flash might be a little late for Dragon, but you didn't burn anything like a flash there. I wouldn't honestly mind if Bluffing traded his life for like an AD carry flash, but it's not to be the case. Now Kanavi in trouble again.
Yeah, he's going to try to ult in, and he doesn't have his flash yet, so he just dies. He was like 2 seconds on his flash as it just comes up.
Raptor's playing this matchup so well. He just dives on the Vi, gets the knock-up super quick, has the Dusk and Dawn, which obviously helps with that, the Titanic as well, and doesn't give Kanavi a chance to escape. And Kanavi, you saw how he was playing Vi earlier. He's kind of like, I have so much mobility, I have so much freedom. BNK FearX have definitely put him in a cage now and are limiting his ability just to skid around and get away with that.
Yeah. Theoretically, as Rise, you can get inside the Crescent Guard and, you know, potentially do some damage to the Xinjiao, but I think nowadays, Xinjiao, he has so much sustain, and he's so powerful in just a straight-up 1v1, as he always is, but especially with the new builds, like, he can't do that at all. He can't go 1v1 with Raptor right now, who is extremely strong.
Yeah, so earlier in the game, I was kind of talking about how, like, BNK FearX had a Dragon they didn't need to fight. This one, they absolutely are in a prime position to fight it. The Rise is so strong right now and has ideal fight items in this position. So are HLE going to be able to contest is the question. You can see them all grouped up mid lane, looking for an angle to push forward and engage.
8 seconds on Baron too. 4 now, so it looks like HLE, you know, posturing to the top side, saying if you want the Drake, we'll just get the Baron, but it's a close one. I don't even know if they can really manage that. BNK FearX are not just going to go ahead and do the Drake just yet.
They're just being forced away. They're now leaning towards the Baron. You don't really want to be in the pit against this team composition with so much AoE damage. They need to look for a turn, a quick engage. If they get stuck here, they're just going to get decimated.
Yeah, I mean, bluffing going to be spotted, and the Realm Warp will also up to the top side, but they do not take it. Equalizer going to force them away a little bit as they're just going to focus down Raptor just like that as the ultimate over the top from Zeka is beautiful. And Vikla just kind of gets zoned away. He's still alive, does a lot of damage, but immediately just dies to Guma, who picks up a second one. As they haven't dealt with Taeyun, though, the bounces do come in, and Guma barely takes him down for the triple kill.
Such a clutch fight from HLE. Just when the odds are really moving into favor of BNK FearX, they find the engage, and this is the risk of playing into this HLE composition. So many tools to engage, so many tools to find the fight. And for BNK FearX, 4 flashes still up, the Crescent Guard still up. I think this was a big factor, was it being misplayed. I think the Sivir Flash may not have been available first and foremost, but Raptor ends up going in, and you need to Crescent Guard way earlier. Just gets CC laid onto him and dies before he gets a chance to use it. And then this ult engage from Zeka hits 2 members. Vikla ends up super chunked out, goes for the damage there, doesn't flash out of the bullet time. And Taeyun as well, unfortunately, does the best he can. I think even went for the ricochet off the walls, so you could like stack the ricochet with the next auto, but just wasn't enough when the MF is up in your face. Game is still a knife's edge, I feel, but HD getting a lot of momentum from that fight. Taeyun now a big target because he has no flash available. The rest of BNK FearX still have theirs.
Yeah, I feel like BNK FearX, you know, as you mentioned, still close, especially if Raptor doesn't get CC'd 100 to 0, as they're going to try to do the same, but the Crescent Guard does go off. It's a bit early. Flash on in, though. They're trying to burst with Sanderson. Look at the damage from the Sivir, and the Rise is absolutely insane. As the Rumble just disappears. Now they're trying to get a little bit more because they lost the Drake. The taunt comes in from Clear. It's getting split up here as Clear's getting low, and now Vikla isolated just dies to Guma, and Zeka's still alive on the left side, and nobody has dealt with the MF. They're finally going to take down Taeyun, as there you go, a quadra kill for Guma, 10k damage.
A huge fight there from Guma Yushi. Doesn't even need to use his flash there. Just cuts down members of BNK FearX one after another, and BNK FearX are left in shambles.
Just insane. I mean, they had the man advantage. They took out Zeus so quickly, but they used a decent amount to get him. And I think just overextended straight into the open arms of Guma, who is making this MF look broken right now.
Vikla there didn't get a chance to use the Seeker's Arm Guard. I feel like out of these fights, there's so many times I just feel like BNK FearX have more tools in their pocket that they don't end up utilizing. And we'll see here in this play, so it actually comes down to a root on Zeus, and they focus him down after the dragon is taken. The burn from HLE, they get the Crescent Guard, then back off is pretty smart, but Zeus gets deleted. And then in the ensuing fight, it's a 5v4. We see the Realm Warp coming in here. A lot of damage coming down to multiple members of HLE, but Guma is just free hitting in here. The Vial comes in, and Vikla doesn't use Stasis. And I think that is one of the bigger mistakes of the fight, because Taeyun's trying his best to get the damage too, but look at that burst. Guma just critting and doing 1 million damage, it feels like. Execution, I think, has favored HLE in these fights. I think BNK FearX at this point in the game had the tools, but just haven't been able to piece it together.
Yeah, and it's a couple of times in a row. I said it earlier on, against a team like HLE, if you give them enough of a lead, they're a very strong team that can just close it out without many mistakes. Now, they made mistakes after I said that, but now it's almost 10,000 gold. They got another Baron, a big Baron power play. They're trying to get something out of it. They're only going to get the bottom inhibitor, it looks like, with this Baron power play. So, not ending the game just yet. And also, they took that dragon off of the map, but we're going to have another one spawning in 2.5 minutes. See if they can deny the soul again.
At this point for HD, just keep racking them up. You're comfortable taking these fights, but to be honest, the dragon just feels like an excuse to invite BNK FearX into the river so you can start a 5v5. a lot of wave clear for BNK Fear X, so I feel like without a big team fight win or a Baron, or maybe an Elder, very hard to make more progress than they already have in terms of taking the base down. For the time being, HLE in a real position of strength, and Gumayusi already has a GA. On top of the GA plus Bloodthirster on an MF just makes it really hard to deal with him.
And Knight's Vow as well, which we don't always see, but you know, when you're going a tank, quote-unquote support, and he builds like the Protoplasm belt, he's got Locket already, says, well, I guess Guma's the one guy I gotta protect here. I assume he'll put that onto Guma. So, pretty cool stuff. Bluffing's been playing pretty well. You know, there have been some times where it feels like he's going a little challengers, which is understandable. But besides that, you know, I feel like he's identifying the right target in team fights and just doing his job pretty well.
Yeah. I think there has been some moments you saw him get caught out a little bit, but that's kind of that's just what happens with Nautilus.
Yeah.
Hard to always position well. We have about a minute until these next neutral objectives coming up. And pretty much all summoners back available. Callan's is about to come back up. I think making use of them, really important for BNK Fear X. If you're dying to engage and you have tools, you have flashes, you get hit by Yone, only had a flash available, I think it's just not good enough to win this game. And now you're in a position where you are at a big deficit and you kind of have to push outside your base to contest these. And look at the vision line that HLE have established. You're not going to be able to step foot in your jungle without them knowing about it, other than that tiny little pocket of vision with the 2 control wards that BNK Fear X have set up. So I guess they can have a party in that brush, and that's about it.
Yeah, just stand in the one brush and watch another Drake go by, potentially. I mean, at least it's not going to be Soul for HLE. Certainly.
Well, Rabadon's completed for Vikla.
He just has to survive now.
Yeah, had the needlessly large rod, but didn't use the Seekers, so just said I'll build a Rabadon's now. He is so strong, but it's conditional on him being able to get the damage off.
Yeah.
If he's not able to put the damage out, he's not able to survive, then HLE certainly will win this game.
Oh, Raptor's going to go in. That's going to be the Crescent Guard early, as Bluffing does get out. Has to use the depth charge himself.
Raptor looking for Kanavi.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get on to Kanavi here. The knockup comes in, and Kanavi's isolated. He does have his GA. And down he will go to that GA. Does not get close enough to the wall to flash. A lot of damage does come out from HLE already, but the TP comes in. And now BNK Fear X are up a member.
Equalizer still in hand, makes it so risky to go for this Baron. They want to fight.
Yeah, they're just going to drop it down. I mean, Raptor, no Crescent Guard. As Clear is trying to peel for the team. As Taeyoon goes in with the Realm Warp. As Zeka wants to put him out of his misery. Will be able to do so. Lights up too! Zeka, the hero of the fight. As it should be an HLE victory. The TP immediately comes in. And another Quadra kill for Guma on top of it all.
A 4v5 fight win for HLE. Guma just untouchable in this game. 14-1-6 on the Misfortune. An absolute hard carry performance. And they're going to put BNK Fear X's misery in this game at least 10.
Yeah, wow. HLE. They lose Kanavi. They're like, oh, we don't need him. We're just going to end the game anyway. Didn't necessarily have to do it like that, but they're going to finish the game in style.
A good amount of isolated deaths. But when it came to the 5v5s, the execution was there. I mean, I say 5v5s. Half the time it was 4v5s.
Yeah.
They were pulling off. And Gumayusi on this Misfortune.
먹겠어 형 2000 뺄수 있는데 형? 네 좋은데? 네 천천히 싸움 좀 걸리자 얘 피좀 갈렸고 나 빼야 할 때만 하면? 네 뺄 수 있어? 앞으로 안 나간다 얘 텔 박았다 얘네 상태 이거 얘네 천천히 해봐 천천히 나공 빠지긴 했고 안 끌어도 내가 네 라운드 노공이야 얘네 어째 고쳐 얘네 바텀 라인 길게 한번 박혀 길게 하면 내가 바텀 갈게 바텀도 볼만한데 천천히 밀면서 해볼래? 네얘 짜고 여기? 잘 깔았다 공간 한 뺄게 짜고 라이즈 볼게 천천히 해봐 좋아 한턴 빼고 야야야야야야 밀어가야죠 한턴 빼고 천천히 해봐 칩을 잡아 빨리 한번 빼게 한턴 봐봐 바텀 나 크림 쓰 라이즈 도플 바텀 나는 왜 펜타가 안 들어와? 안 들어? 펜타 좀 하자